Hello, hello, hello. I almost got caught up in the song. I was like, yeah. So this is the premiere of Soul to Soul. And so just about a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the different things concerning the soul because somebody sent a message and say they wanted to go over um, learning about soul ties, learning about things like that. I did reiterate that I didn't see anything that referenced to soul ties in the Bible in a romantic uh, content. So the only thing that I ever found was the friendship that David had with Jonathan. The Bible said they were knit at the souls, like brothers were knit at the soul. But there is nothing in the Bible that I can see that says anything about soul ties as in a means of binding a person to another, and it being in a negative content or in a romantic setting. So I'm not going to bring a lot of worldly concepts and teaching because sometimes it can get confusing to a lot of people, and it's really not in the word. You should stick what's in the word because the world can be very trendy. They can legalize, justify things that the word of God does not justify. I would rather tell you what's right than to tell you what's absolutely wrong or what I know nothing about. All I know is this word has been here before time began. He just chose man a designated time to write it down, what was already predestined and God had already said. Because God don't ever forget what he says. So it could be something that's 5,000 years ago before you got here. If you told you to sit down and write it and inspired you to write it, it still came from God. You know, some people that get caught up in saying that man wrote this and man wrote that. Honey, man wrote movies, they wrote magazines, newspapers, books. So if you feel that way about what man writes, then don't read anything, don't watch TV or go to the movies since you're so bent on not reading or accepting something that man has written. Anyway, so we are talking about the continuation of the soul. We talked about a couple weeks ago that the soul is the immaterial part of a person. It's the part that cannot be touched, that's not solid, that's not visible, but it does exist. We went on to talk about the characteristics of a soul, how the soul exits this mortal flesh. We are not immortal, we are mortal. Um, and talk about the soul's abilities to believe, to love God, sin, prosper, and survive. It's actually your actual personality, your will, it's you, your characteristic as a person, as a human being. Because once the soul leaves the body, then that body is no longer animated. That body no longer has a personality as the person you would have known them to be. Is just a body without a soul. So soul is a very uh thing that makes that person who they are to you and everybody else. I mean, if the person had a sense of humor, then that was part of their soul characteristics, to be a person that had a sense of humor, caring, or whatever else you might pick up in a journey, in life journey, because life can turn a person from being a happy individual to be a person that is bitter, mean, um, unkind. And those are the characteristics that a person may have as to their makeup, as to who they are. And that can change. That can change from the time you any life event can change, have an effect on your soul. the personality of who you are. So this is going to go out as the premiere. So get ready. Tell your family and your friends to tune in to Word Up Wednesday on YouTube. And that will be at 7 o'clock tomorrow. And we're going to talk about the duties of what the soul has to do, the enemies of the soul, because we have enemies, and the difference between the soul of the righteous, the benefits of the soul of the righteous, the difference of the soul of the righteous, the benefits or the consequences of the soul of the wicked, and the characteristics of the soul of the wicked. So we are going to have those as things to go over. So remember, we're going to be talking about the duties or what the soul is responsible for doing. You have a responsibility to your soul, believe it or not. And so does the person who is named as your pastor or bishop. That's also in the Word of God, that that a person is entrusted, your soul is entrusted to a person, that they will teach you the way of God, so that your soul is properly prepared to meet the Lord again. Like there is a preparation. I said something about preparation when we came back from Word Up Wednesday, about talking about preparation, preparing for greatness. And that could be the greatness of what's going on in your life financially, emotionally, physically, preparing for the great things to come. And it is also preparing for your exit out of here to the next life, which is, highly important. It's above anything else, to be honest, to be prepared for that most of all. So the soul does have an enemy. Your soul does have an enemy, because believe you me, there is some entity that does not want you to go to the light of God, don't want you to return or be where you should be, where you need to be. We don't want to be separated from God. We don't want to be separated from our Creator. So with that being said, this is just a quick summary of what to look forward to on tomorrow night. And we talk about the duties of the soul. Like, what are your responsibilities to yourself spiritually? You got a spiritual responsibility to yourself, and that spiritual responsibility affects others. So there's probably about, I would say, 6 or 7 things that the soul is responsible, that you and I both are responsible for doing. That's a duty to our soul, to our inner man. The other one was the benefits of being a righteous soul. Like, what does it, sometimes we get upset. I'm guilty of it too, of doing everything right or been doing right by people, and they turn around and they do you wrong. And you feel like, what am I benefiting from being righteous, from being good, or turning the other cheek? Well, we're going to find that out as well on tomorrow night. So it's the soul of the righteous that is different from the soul of the wicked. And there are a lot more differences for the righteous than it is for the wicked. So as I'm looking in my study book, find your good Bible that has a good topical index that you can study out of. That way it helps you get a quick reference and the study materials according to the Word of God, not according to worldly or trendy words that are going to be gone in 2 years, and then another trend of new words come. It helps you keep it plain and simple to where you know what we're talking about from a spiritual, and I don't really like to say religious aspect, because we came here, we didn't come here born under a denomination. We didn't have a denomination tag on us. We came in here as a spirit encased in a body, in a fleshly body. So we're really more spirit than we are anything else. So with that being said, I look forward to Word Up Wednesday on YouTube at 7 o'clock. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, and put your notification bell on so that when I have like maybe start to get random downloads or things that come to me, I'll be quick to share it. You know, I'm not one that doesn't want to share the information, but you know, if God give it to me, I'm gonna give it to you. And if I got a question about it, I'm gonna ask him about it, and you should too. So, you know, God is your father, and you should not be afraid to ask him any questions. So it's a lot of people that say, you know, you're not supposed to question God. I mean, if you have a natural father and you live in a house with him, you have a natural mother and you live in the house with her. So you don't go around as a child not saying anything or not asking anything. If anything, that's who you question the most, your parents. So God is welcome to questions. You might not get the answer when you think you should get it. It may not come to you right then and there, but trust and believe that you will get an understanding, like the old people say. You know, you'll understand it better by and by. You might not get it all at one time, and sometimes the answers we can't. God may feel like, you know, you're not ready for that right now, for the answer, the full answer right now. So I'm just gonna walk you into and explain your journey, and he does that. He will do that. You will, you know, just keep talking to him. Keep talking to the Lord, and he'll lead the way. Let him lead the way. So I took this like near 15-minute premiere just to let you know about Soul to Soul Part 2.